Sarah Cronin from Apple a Day. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about a self-management technique called acceptance. So if you can see on this slide, this big circle is your world. That represents your life. And inside your life, inside your world, there are people and places that you go to. And then along comes a curved ball. And that curved ball could be anything. That could be a bereavement, that could be diagnosis of a health condition, that could be lockdown, COVID-19, whatever that curveball is that comes into your life. And what tends to happen is when life throws us a curveball is actually our world begins to shrink. And in health we call this the shrinking world. So actually the people and the places that we go to become less and less and less. So we might stop going to work, we might stop going out, we might stop socialising. So actually that world gets smaller and smaller and smaller until what you're left with are the four walls kind of the house. That is generally speaking what happens when life throws a curveball. We kind of like crawl into ourselves and our world shrinks a little bit. And then the response to the shrinking world, there are 5 things, and I am generalising, that people often react to when there is the shrinking world. And these 5 things are these. The first thing is, in the shrinking world responses, we can struggle with things. Now not everybody will, but a lot of people will struggle and fight. So for me, with my diagnosis of depression, I was struggling, I was fighting, I didn't want it to happen to me. So very often we can struggle when that life throws us that curveball. The second thing we can do is we compare. So we compare ourselves to the old person, to the new person. We compare ourselves with other people. And again, this is not a healthy response. And as the quote says there, it does mess with your head and it does steal your happiness. That's comparing. The third thing that tends to happen is we avoid. So avoidance, we avoid going out, we avoid the telephone, we avoid socialising. I know for myself, just avoid even going into the shower, my head over the duvet cover. Avoidance. Now avoidance feels good initially. Whew, great, I don't have to do that. But actually we run into more problems further along the line. The fourth thing is some people ruminate. They go over and over and over things in their head. And finally, people suppress. They lock in their feelings. They don't let those feelings out. And it's a bit like if you put a beach ball underwater. If you try to hold a beach ball underwater, eventually it's going to spring up, and it's going to spring up double, 3 times the force. So actually locking in those feelings is a response to that shrinking world, but again, it's not a great response. So they're the 5 responses to the shrinking world. And actually, if you take the first letter of those, the struggle, the compare, avoid, ruminate and suppress, that gives us scars, and that's not a great thing. However, if we can throw acceptance into a self-management toolkit. A self-management toolkit is just tools and techniques you can use for yourself in order to improve your well-being. So throw acceptance into the world when life throws you a curveball. So going back to this shrinking world, this curveball's been thrown at us. We've got a very, very small world, but actually by accepting, that world can get bigger. So I've accepted that I have got depression. I'm very proud to say that I live well with depression. I don't suffer with it. I don't struggle with it anymore. I live well with it. So by accepting, I can move forward. I managed to get out of the house. I managed then to walk the dog. I then managed to socialise with friends and families again. And then actually my world is really big again. Go back to work. That curveball for me, that depression, is still in my world, but it's a tiny wee part of my world. And by accepting the situation, we can move forward. So I've got a few more wee tips that will help you with acceptance. So sometimes we just need to go with the flow. We might not like it, but if we go with the flow, we're accepting, we're moving forward. Sometimes in a situation, the only thing we can control is how we react. So accept that situation, but have control over how you react. Sometimes we've just got to fake it till we make it, and that can help with acceptance in a situation. when all this is happening, we do need to be kind to ourselves. Don't give ourselves a hard time. So actually be kind to yourself into your self-management toolkit. And finally, sometimes we just need to shush your inner critic. Tell it to pipe down. Don't know about you, my mind's a bit of a saboteur. Never tells me anything good. So sometimes we just need to shh. Tell it to shush a bit. Because it can be this saboteur, can't it? And remember, at the end of the day, you are not your mind. So build your self-management toolkit, lots of resources, put acceptance into that, and then you can move forward. On my Facebook page, I've got a daily motivational quote. You're welcome to follow that. I've been Sarah Cronin. Thanks very much. See you next time. Bye for now.